Welcome back. In this video, we'll be going through the proper settings and formatting to prepare your site for use with Laulima. In the previous video, you created and named your site, whether you started from scratch or you're using the Itso template. And in this video, we'll go through the site settings and formatting. This video will go through all of the details needed for those of you starting from scratch. For those of you using the Itso template, some of these settings and formatting are already included in the template. However, there may be some settings and formatting that could not be baked into the template and that you will need to do yourself. And since this can change as Google Sites continues to be updated, I'm going to ask that you please double check your site as you go through the video. All right, let's log in to Google Sites and open the course site. So as a refresher, I've already logged into my Google Mail, my UH email account. It's the easiest way to access Google Sites. And so I'll go up to the app launcher, click on the icon, look for the sites icon, click on that to open up the list of sites. And remember, if at any time you come to Google Sites and you do not see your site listed, click the refresh button up next to the address bar or click the hotkey F5 on PC to refresh the list. And you may have to do it several times, but click it until you do see your site listed. I created my site and named it Sample Site. So I'll go ahead and click on that to open up the site. And here's where we had left off. We just have our one page, which is the home page, and I added just some text just as a reminder that I'm going to use this home page to house my course syllabus. So we're going to first go and manage the site and start with some of the settings. So all of this is located in the More Actions, or that gear or cog icon button on the top right. Click on that and we're going to go down into the section called Site Actions and click on Manage Site. In Manage Site, as you can see, there are quite a few pages in here. We're in the General settings. And so we'll go quickly down through this list first. First, site name, and that's what you would name the site. And remember, I told you when you named it, you can change it at any time. So if I wanted to change this site's name, I can. But remember, you cannot change the address that it goes to. So this is where, once you had set that address, if you want to keep updating this for the current semester or term, you can. It does not affect the address to the site. Very important, the show site name at the top of the pages, we're not going to want that to be shown in Laulima, therefore we're going to uncheck that box. We're going to leave the next several fields blank, so we're not going to touch site categories, site notice, or the site description, and we're going to take a look at landing page. This is the default landing page where users will see when they first visit your site. So if at any time they obtain and enter in the main site address for your website, that's the first page they'll see. And that's why we're going to use it as the syllabus page, because that's kind of a general good information page for anybody coming across this site to land on. Now at any time you can change that, and once we build more pages into the site, we can come here and we can change the landing page to any page you want. This next set of buttons here, this row of buttons, copy site. If you ever wanted to create a backup and you wanted to have an untouched copy of a site, or if you want to copy and then modify for a future purpose, you can copy the entire site and all of its contents. You can also publish this site as a template. Keep in mind, if you publish it as a template, it will be available for use for anyone in the Hawaii.edu system. And then third, delete this site. So that's if you truly do not need this site anymore, you can go ahead and delete it from your account. Enable search. I'm going to click on Configure Search. And right now in our site, in the top right, there was that enable search this site. So someone could enter a term and search all the pages in the website for that term. I recommend you disable this because you don't really want students to be able to navigate to other pages in the website, especially since it's going to hold all the content for your semester. If you were using the site for a different purpose, you may want to consider leaving that so students can easily, or viewers can easily find content in your site. But for course sites, I recommend unchecking that box. Click OK to save. We're going to skip statistics. We're going to skip the webmaster tools, and we're going to come down to the last several features, mobile and security. We're going to check both of those boxes, and these are important. If for any reason a viewer is looking at content on a mobile device, it will automatically adjust the site and make it more mobile friendly or mobile compatible. Laulima itself is not fully mobile compatible, but we know students log on using mobile devices anyway, so we might as well try to make the experience as best as we can, and this is one way. For security, this box needs to be checked because we do need the Google site pages to be embedded into Laulima, and if you don't check this box, you might end up with blank pages in Laulima later, so make sure these two boxes are checked. Access settings, we do want to make sure that those who can access the site activity and users who can access the revision history, both of these should be collaborators only. In other words, students who just view the site should not really be able to access either of those. Lastly, commenting. Allow page viewers to comment. Make sure this box is not checked, unless you truly want students to be commenting on your content pages. Okay, now we'll go to the top of the screen, click on the Save button. That will save and apply those changes. At the top, the changes have been saved. If we were done and wanted to go back to that web page that we were working on, we would click on this sample site with the back arrow in the left-hand column, and that would take us back to our content. But I'm not quite done, so I'm going to click on the More Actions button again in the top right, go back to Manage Site where we were, and instead of being in the General page, I'm going to go down to Sharing and Permissions. So here is where you set who has access and who has what access privileges to the site. So first of all, I want to make sure that anyone who has the link to the site can view it, meaning if I embed it into Laulima, anybody who opens that page can see it. So I'm going to change this first access. So instead of University of Hawaii, I'll click Change, and I'm going to say anyone with the link, and then under Access, make sure it says Can View, and click Save. So that's the first of the two permissions. And then the second thing is listed under that anyone who has link can view are people who are either owners or collaborators of the site. In other words, can manage content. So you would be listed here by default as the owner, and you could add other people. So if I wanted to add, right now, our office, our ITSO office is the owner. So if I wanted to add my personal account, I have the option to be either a viewer, an editor, or an owner. Now the difference is edit can edit the content of any page in the website. Will have limited access to settings. Owners have full access to all of the settings. So I would recommend, if you are going to team teach, you might want to add that person as an owner. So you can have multiple owners, and you can notify them and add messages if you want to. I'm not going to notify myself, and I'll say okay. So then once it saves, then you'll see the ITSO office and my account are both listed as owners, and that's fine. We are going to recommend that you add the ITSO account, which is haitso@hawaii.edu, as an owner to your site. And that will provide us access to the site in case you need help with anything, there are any issues or any errors. We would be able to fully see the entire site and all of the settings in order to best help you. All right, so we are nearing the 10-minute mark, so I'm going to pause here and continue in another video where I'll take you through the themes, colors, and fonts, which are the page settings or page formattings of your site, as well as take you through the site layout. In other words, the the page layout and the margins and what you see in those different margins for your site. All right, so take a break and I will see you in the next video.